Right, we're going to take you live now to the Air Force Base at Waterkloof in Pretoria, where another group of South African soldiers is expected to land this afternoon. They've been deployed to Goma in the DRC as part of a regional peacekeeping mission in the conflict-ridden North Kivu province. Newzroom Afrika's Scara Mafokoane joins us live with more of those details. Scara, their comrades who touched down on Friday night are undergoing a demobilization process to help them reintegrate into society. Do we expect the same with this group, and how many more groups are we expecting?
Good afternoon to you, Hugo, and our viewers. Yes. So what happened is on Friday, upon landing, they were transported. They landed here at the AFB Waterkloof, and they were transported via buses to Bloemfontein. I was in Bloemfontein myself yesterday, witnessing their welcoming ceremony. They arrived shortly after 5 o'clock in the morning in Bloemfontein, and we were told that they rested for a bit, and that process of demobilization, the 3 to 4 days of those sessions, started later on Saturday afternoon, Hugo. But we expect in about 2 hours, between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, we're told, that plane carrying, or that aircraft carrying the second batch to land here at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. We're told the number is 257. But let me bring in Admiral Shabalala, who's going to give us more details regarding the second batch and subsequently those who are going to follow. And Admiral Shabalala, thank you so much for joining us on Newzroom Afrika. The aircraft, has it left? What time are we anticipating that it's going to land here at the Air Force Base?
Yes, thank you, Scara. The plane left at 1200 Charlie, which is the central time for Tanzania. So we expect them to be landing here between 3 and 5. The passengers has confirmed it's 257, and so far the schedule, I think it's going very well in terms of the traveling.
On Friday, there were technical glitches, logistical problems, which forced that aircraft to land here at the Waterkloof instead of Bloemfontein in Bloemfontein. Are all the chartered flights going to be landing here here in Pretoria?
Scara, the intention of the National Defence Force is to obviously make the trip as much as fast as possible to relieve the stress and fatigue from the troops. So for now, we can say they will land here, but the plans are in place to move the stairways that the plane doesn't have capacity to move them to Bramfisher or Broomspruit, so that we are able to land closer where the troops will undergo the demobilization process. For now, this will be our landing trips until we resolve this logistical issue of a stairway moving to Bloemfontein. Then once that stairway has been moved there, we are going to be able to land closer to the demop area so that our troops cannot have this fatigue. So we really apologize for the inconvenience caused, but as we explained that we ourselves were quite surprised because it is a SADC chartered airline that has really caused this inconvenience. But nevertheless, we are saying we apologize to the nation because it was not the intended option that we land here, but we find ourselves having to deal with these challenges from the service provider, which is the Tanzanian airline. So we are dealing with that decisively, but we are making plans that the stairway, which they cannot have at the moment, be moved to Bloemfontein.
The minister calling it embarrassing, and she herself said she was anxious at the logistical nightmares that happened on Friday. Have you been in contact? What are your colleagues at SADC saying regarding this logistical problems?
Indeed, we've been in contact with our contact, and we have ensured that behind the scenes they are making all efforts. Hence, in the meantime, as a SANDF, we are making these options so that we are able to move this stairway, because this seems to be a major issue, which then prevents the planes from landing on the site that we have chosen. So we are not leaving everything to the SADC, so we are coming up with our own plans so that we can make this trip as much as more less fatigue as possible.
Just lastly, the first batch which landed on Friday arrived in Bloemfontein yesterday morning. They are currently going through that demobilization program. How's that going, and how long will it last for this first group?
Yeah, basically all of them, we anticipate that the maximum they can stay, they would be a maximum 4 days. So the process is going very well, and we are happy with the results. And by the look of things, come Tuesday, the first batch would have been going back home to reintegrate with their family, and some of them already they've made contacts with their families. There's so much jubilations in terms of their relief from their side. But so far the process is going very well of the demo process.
And just lastly, are they going to be getting time off with the family? How many days in terms of leave are they receiving to be with family before they report back to their units?
Yeah, look, that process itself is we have a policy that is in place, is governed by our HR policy. So we anticipate a month, depending on what the HR policy is saying. Sometimes it will be a month, including the other deployment, we call it deployment leave, which will then be afforded to the members. You can see a minimum of more than 30 days will be given to them to recuperate at home, and then after that we'll then add the deployment leave which they qualify for. So they will be the ones that are directing us to say how long they want to stay. So that period itself is governed by the policies of our HR process.
Admiral Shalbala, thank you so much for your time. There you have it, Hugo. So at least 30 days of leave, and before the troops report back to their respective units. And we're told that by Admiral that process of the demobilization is going well. We expect that first group that landed on Friday and arrived in Bloemfontein yesterday on Saturday to be released back to their units and integrated back into with their families by Tuesday.
Scara, yesterday I had a conversation with a representative of the South African defence unions who spoke about the mood of the soldiers and how many of them were angry at how they were treated or some of the conditions that they were exposed to in the DRC. What was the sort of mood that you experienced in the camp yesterday when those soldiers landed and were obviously being demobilized?
Look, obviously, there would be those sentiments whereby the unions are defending their members. But I can tell you, from what I witnessed at 5 o'clock when they arrived there, they were very jubilant. And obviously, we can't speak to them yet on camera. But I threw in a question just off camera just to get the sentiment of how they are. I remember speaking to a lady who was saying she is very happy to be home. She can't wait to see her family. Obviously, what happened in DRC was traumatic, but they are soldiers. The debrief sessions will help them to cope with that. But they are very happy to be home and to serve the nation, we're told. And also, what she emphasized on, Hugo. What she emphasized on was that it's so cold in South Africa. They came back during winter, and where they were in Tanzania, in the green zone, it was very, very warm. But a jubilant group, which we saw, they were singing, some of them even kissing the ground, saying we're happy to be home. But also, that reality of 14 troops being killed in January. I asked one of them about that. They're like, listen, we're soldiers. We serve the nation, and these things happen. We do understand, but we are human ourselves. We can't detach the emotional part of it. But they believe that the demobilization program, which is a standard protocol by the SANDF, will help them assist with some of those emotions that they had post the DRC deployment.
Scara, Mafokoane, appreciate your time coming to us from the Waterkloof Air Base ahead of the arrival of a number of soldiers via Tanzania, those that are coming back from the DRC.